time no see, dudes and dudettes. Yes, Rex the Rockin' Reptile, the master storyteller, the king of awesomeness, and whatever other titles I can think of at the moment, is back on his throne. And what better way than to submit my return than to share with you a little tale, a scale of a tale, featuring one of everyone's favorite swashbuckling pirate crocodilian heroes, Jean-Claude Crocohook. Our hook-handed grappling protagonist never turns down an opportunity to rescue a beauty, especially when she is one of crocodilian royalty, even when it means facing a band of mercenary ninja assassins all by himself. So sit back and listen as Crocohook himself narrates his Crossbone Adventure, which I like to call The Pirate and the Princess. And as our French accented pirate croc hero would say, en garde!
This is an adventure of crocodile pirate hero Jean-Claude Crocohook, vanquisher of evil and swashbuckler of justice. And so our story begins with I, Jean-Claude Crocohook, enjoying shore leave with my fellow crewmates, having sailed under one of my favorite crossbone crocodilian captains, Captain Crococlaws. No, we are not related. We crocodilian pirates just have very stereotypical names. I was accompanied by a full crew of crossbone crocodilian pirates who were enjoying shore leave from our powerful half-sunken pirate ship, the Gator. I was at the marketplace with my best mates, Scarscales, Riggs, and Rumble, spending our gold when Pearl from the swamp caught me eye. It was the most beautiful green crocodile mademoiselle I have ever laid me yellow reptilian eyes on. She had scales which glistened like stars in the sky, and a mouthful of teeth as white as pearls and sharp as the thorns of a rosebush. Hair as black as the night sky, all of it was partially covered by a brown hood. But distress was in her eyes as she ran through the streets. I knew immediately she required the assistance of pirate hero Jean-Claude Crocohook. So, using my best feature, the hook, I swung myself across the marketplace to the protest of my fellow crewmates, landing with a graceful flip in midair that only Jean-Claude Crocohook could do. I landed in front of the swamp pearl and introduced myself. She did not take to me at first, screaming in my face, as most mademoiselles do when stunned by my handsome features. "Hello, miss," I said, taking a bow. "What seems to be the trouble? Why do you hide such a lovely face underneath that hood?" "Get away from me, you fool," she said, struggling to get past me. But using my superior strength, I restrained her and said, "Not so fast, mademoiselle, for I wish to help you." "Let me go, please," she cried. I could hear my crewmates criticizing me from behind. "Have you lost your mind, Crocohook?" Scarscale scolded me. Before I could further respond, an explosion of black smoke erupted, sending onlooking lovers fleeing in terror. The swamp pearl ceased trying to escape my grasp as 6 black ninjas appeared before me and my crewmates, all of them wielding katanas and sticks. The leader was a tall panther who threatened me to hand over the girl, as she was to be wedded to the infamous Daggerclaw assassin king, Lord Slayton. The girl, now clinging to my super-muscular physique, said, "Don't let them take me, Crocohook, for I am none other than the Princess Isabella, daughter of the great crocodilian ruler, King Crocodilius." My companions joined me with a gasp as the girl removed her hood, revealing her long black hair and diamond earrings only worn by crocodilian royalty. Now you see, King Crocodilius is the most powerful and respected crocodilian ruler, so the idea of her marrying an assassin king was distasteful even to rugged croc pirates such as ourselves. I glared defiantly into the eyes of the assassin, raising my hook defensively, and said, "You will never take the princess from the claws of Jean-Claude Crocohook and his heroic crossbone pirate companions." My my fellow crocodilian crewmates drew their swords as we prepared to battle the fiends. Yet the foul feline had the gall to jeer at Crocohook, saying, "Is that so?" In typical crafty ninja fashion, he threw another smoke bomb and knocked us down during our temporary blindness. We awakened, sprawled on the ground, only to find the panther and princess had vanished. The townfolk chastised us, saying, "You foolish pirates! You're lucky to all be alive at challenging the dagger claws. No one opposes them and lives to tell the tale." Brushing the dust from my scales, I demanded to know where they were keeping the fair princess. The lubbers pointed west, telling me I was sure to find her in the great palace of Lord Slayton, but said to me it was only a fool's errand. "Not for Jean-Claude Crocohook," I replied, before grappling away, admittedly, to the protest of my crewmates. And so I, Jean-Claude Crocohook, arrived at Lord Slayton's infamous Palace of Death by nightfall, and using only my hook and superior strength, I scaled the enormous outer wall which surrounded the keep. Upon climbing the treacherous obstacle, I found myself face to face with a group of several ninja guards. Jean-Claude Crocohook was outmanned, but not to be outfought, for my powerful muscles and fighting prowess would prove to be more than enough to overcome my enemies. "En garde!" I shouted, throwing myself into battle. These ninjas were very skilled, but none matched the skill of Jean-Claude Crocohook, for it is no ninja who is as good a swordsman as yours truly. The skirmish ended with my enemies laying wounded before my scaly crocodilian feet, minus the one who managed to slip away and sound the alarm. Oh, little did they know that they had only unleashed the full rage of Jean-Claude Crocohook. Grappling with my hook, I swung towards the castle, pistol in hand, firing at multitudes of enemies, performing a maneuver that only yours truly could perform. I landed on my feet on top of the tower, where they were holding the swamp lily, Princess Isabel. The panda guards were waiting for Jean-Claude Crocohook, so I battled them as well. We fought with sword, fists, and hook, and even wrestled on the bare floor. I beat every one of them, of course, taking only a few moderate ouchies to myself. And there down the stairwell was my swamp lily, Princess Isabella, tied to a wooden post. "You foolish pirate," she said. "You will kill both of us." Puffing out my muscular, scaly chest, I said, "Not Jean-Claude Crocohook, mademoiselle." And then black smoke enveloped the room, and I felt someone cheap shot me in the back of the head. I collapsed to the floor, sprawled on my chest, and found myself before the feet of none other than the evil Assassin King himself, Lord Slayton. To my surprise, the king was an unusually tall raccoon, with dark eyes filled with malicious intent. Like any villain with no honor, he kicked me again and again while I was down, jeering at me. "So, it is you, scummy pirate, who is trying to destroy my wedding." I looked up at the unusually tall raccoon foe and said, "You have no right to force the lovely Princess Isabella to marry you." "That is where you are wrong," the Assassin King replied. "For your so-called crocodile ruler sold his daughter to me for a steak dinner when he became hungry while traveling through one of my territories. Unlike your scoundrel ruler, Lord Slayton, the Assassin King believes in keeping his promises, as your Croc King tried to double-cross me and sneak away with his daughter. Well, you can't hide from an assassin, Lord." I, Jean-Claude Crocohook, saw the fair crocodilian Princess Isabel's eyes burn with rage at her captor's claims. "No," she yelled, "he was not true to his word. He did not tell my father prior to feeding him the king that he was going to demand his daughter. And not only that, the meat he gave my father was no good and made his tummy sick." Enraged at this, I hissed in defiance at the Assassin King. "You don't take advantage of a crocodile when he is hungry," I said, "even if he be the king of the crocodiles, for everyone knows a hungry croc is a compromised croc." Impulse took over as I threatened the rotten ruler. For this treachery, I shall cut off your head and bring it to King Crocodilius. My boldness threw the Panther King into a fit of rage. I felt a panda guard slam his club into my back. Do you know who you talk to? The Assassin King shouted. I am Lord Slayton, King of the Assassins. I have slain kings and generals. The self-proclaimed king lowered his sword over the back of my neck as though preparing to behead me. You are nothing to me, pirate scum, he said. You are not even worthy to mess my sword. Turning to one of his soldiers, he said, cut off the croc's head and toss his scaly carcass into the moat which drains into the swamp. He will be quite at home there. The guard unsheathed his sword and raised it, preparing to give what would be my doom. But I interjected, you are forgetting one thing, Lord Slayton. The Assassin King turned back around curiously. Oh, and what would that be? I beamed at the tyrant, a great crocodilian smile, and replied, said I am Jean-Claude Crocohook. My crocodilian instincts kicking in, I tail-whipped my enemies and growled, reaching for my pistol. I fired into the Assassin King's legs. He yelped in fear as he tumbled to the ground, revealing his legs to be nothing more than wooden stilts. Oh, what a fight it was, as guards and ninjas appeared on every side of me. I fired my gun and dueled with my hook against their swords and sticks. I grabbed the swamp lily and told her to cling to a sturdy muscular back. I fired my weapon as we swung away from the palace. If the night could not get any crazier, one of my bullets must have set off a crate of fireworks for the Assassin King's wedding, starting a chain reaction with other explosives. With explosions and smoke behind us, we swung further away from the chaos of the palace and landed safely in the most romantically beautiful muddy swamp. You saved me, cried Isabel as she remained under my strong arms. How can I ever repay you? I chuckled as I prepared to reply. Well, you could give me a little kissy. And it was there that her snout met mine as we embraced. Yes, I, Jean-Claude Crocohook, pirate hero, kissed the fair Princess Isabel, daughter of the great crocodile ruler, King Crocodilius. Yet our adventure could not end there, for the Assassin King would surely pursue Jean-Claude Crocohook and the lovely rescued Swamp Lily. I did the only thing I could do and took her to the Crossbone ship. Holding her by the hand, we ran through the swamp. I knew my ship was setting sail at dawn, so I ran with much haste and carried her on my back when she became too weary. As we arrived at port, I caught the gray gator sailing away, so I fired my hook at the ship and grappled us aboard. Captain Crococlaws was not amused by my being late, and was even less amused by me bringing aboard a woman. Crocohook, you crazy croc, he yelled at me. What do ye mean by bringing a strange lass aboard me ship? I ought to have ye killed all for this. In response, I chuckled. But my dear captain, you misunderstand the situation. This is no ordinary mademoiselle. The girl is crocodilian royalty, for she is none other than the daughter of the great crocodile king Crocodilius. Now my crewmate brothers may have been scallywag pirates, but we were still all crocodiles, and all still felt loyal to the crocodile king. So we all bowed before the crocodilian princess and dedicated ourselves to transporting her safely to the king. And besides, I added, she's very pretty, to which none of my fellow croc-pirates brothers disagreed. So we treated the crocodile princess the best a bunch of scallywag pirates could, and changed our course from Crossbone Island to Crocogator Island, home to the Crocozar Kingdom, which is a homeland and kingdom of all crocodilian kind, if you did not know. It was a long night. The seas were rough, and the half-sunken grey gator tossed and turned under the tremendous waves. But little did we know, disaster was about to strike. Among the rain, something else fell, which we did not at first take notice of. Mysterious black barrels with parachutes were landing throughout our ship. Two of my croc pirate brothers named Longsnout and Silverscales were walking the deck and were the first pirates to take notice of the unusual cargo. As they talked amongst themselves as to where the barrels came from, two black assassin ninjas leaped out from the top, and before my fellow croc pirate brothers could react, they were unfortunately beaten up and knocked overboard into the perilous waters, but not without alerting the rest of the crew to this sinister stowaway's presence. The gloves were off as the rest of the ninjas made themselves known and battled against me brothers. The crossbone crocodile pirates fought bravely. You see, while we pirates do not have the stealth and discipline as a ninja, we make up for it in ferocity and muscle. And so we gave them the fight of the century, battling with our swords, pistols, and bare fists. Ninjas and croc pirates alike fell in battle and were tossed overboard. As for me, I battled 10 ninjas and took them all out with me hook and muscles. My brave feat just so happened to capture the attention of the same panther ninja leader I met back at the marketplace. The panther challenged me to one-on-one combat, to which I gladly accepted. And so the battle was underway, my hook against his katana. It was a brutal fight which pushed me to my limits. If crocodiles could sweat, I would surely have been drenched as I blocked his lightning-fast attacks. Yet instead of sweat, I was already wet from the ongoing storm, which had only worsened, adding to the danger of the moment. He was very good. One slip-up and it surely would have been the end of Jean-Claude Crocohook. But as always, my opponent underestimated me as I bided my time awaiting an opening. Once I got it, I struck him in the hand, relieving him of his weapon. But the battle was not over, as he karate kicked me in the gut, knocking me back, leaving me with a very bad bellyache, I might add. As he charged to finish me off, I managed to knock him in the head with my hook, leaving him defeated on the deck floor. It was then I heard the whirring of the helicopter, and saw one of the Assassin King's ninja soldiers snatching the princess from a drop ladder. Now fully realizing my fight with the ninja leader was a distraction, I ran towards the helicopter, preparing to fire my hook. Seconds before grappling away, the grey gator suddenly began to explode from the explosions left by the nefarious ninjas. I barely escaped with my life, as our beloved grey gator began giving way to the sea. Through all the chaos, I hear the voice of none other than the Assassin King Slayton himself call to me. You destroyed my home, Crocohook, so now I destroy yours. I had no time to mourn the loss of my ship and crew, as I again found myself engaged in battle with the ninja scum. Having already pulled the princess into the copter, I yanked the soldier from the open entrance, leaving him screaming as he fell into the perilous ocean waters. Climbing inside, I found myself face to face with none other than nefarious Assassin King himself, Lord Slayton. You are a very persistent pirate, Mr. Crocohook, Slayton said, restraining the princess at gunpoint. Scowling, I raised my gun as well. Jump off the copter, pirate, or the girl dies, threatened the rotten raccoon. Now there is no one as fast and accurate as Jean-Claude Crocohook when it comes to firing a gun, so before he knew what happened, the so-called king found his gun being flung from his hands as a bullet ricocheted off it. Now what I did not count on was that the bullet impacted the controls of the copter, causing the pirate to lose control. You fool! Shouted King Slayton. Now we all die. Snatching the princess and returning my gun to my holster, I spoke one last time to my defeated adversary. Au revoir, King Slayton. And with those final words, we leapt from the copter that was now spiraling out of control, landing into the rough waters below. Now, if it weren't for the fact that there is no crocodile as good a swimmer as Jean-Claude Crocohook, we would surely have perished, but I managed to swim to floating debris left by the now fully sunken ship, the Grey Gator, all while carrying the princess on my back once again. And so now, having rid ourselves of our ninja assassin attackers, all we could do was wait out the storm. Words cannot express how relieved we two crocodiles were once the waters finally calmed and the sun began to shine, warming her scales. But the princess was understandably not in the best of moods and had her concerns. "How are we going to get back, Crocohook?" she asked. Standing on the floating debris, with my muscular chest puffed out, I replied, "My dear princess, I am Jean-Claude Crocohook. We will surely find a way." It was then we felt the floating wooden debris jerk, driving a shriek from our fair princess. It was a shark, a hungry great white shark larger than any crocodile mariner had ever laid his eyes on. "Crocohook, do something!" the princess cried. "Don't worry, princess. I will take care of this beast." Now you may not know this, but I, Crocohook, was a champion shark wrestler back on Crossbone Island. So, to the protest of the fair princess, I dove headfirst into the ocean waters. Wrapping my arms around the beast, I wrestled for control. "On guard, loud fishy!" I yelled, as the beast thrashed violently under my grasp. It was a long battle, and the princess thought her handsome hero had surely met his demise under the ocean waters. But she was mistaken, as none other than Jean-Claude Crocohook emerged from the waters, riding a now tamed great white shark. "We now have a ride to Crocogator Island, my lovely princess." The princess did not share my enthusiasm at first, being understandably wary to ride the large beast. "Crocohook," she said, "I cannot ride to the crocodile kingdom on a shark." "He won't bother us now, princess," I assured her. "Not as long as Jean-Claude Crocohook is around." And so we began riding back to Crocodile Island, picking up other members of our surviving crew like Scarscales, Riggs, and Rumble, as well as Longsnout and Silverscales. Even Capitan Crococlaws we managed to rescue, who was too sad over the loss of his ship to be mad at Crocohook. And so, after many great days, we managed to reach the island on the back of the shark, to which we were met with great pomp and circumstance by the glorious Crocodile Kingdom. His Royal Highness King Crocodilius himself celebrated the return of his daughter in the best way we crocodiles know how, and that is by having a great feast. The king also rewarded us with chests of gold from the Crocodile Kingdom treasury. And so, after days of feasting and partying, we were ready to set sail. But we had one itsy-bitsy problem. We had no ship. And so, we did the only thing a crocodile could do, and that was to bring it to the Crocodile King. Upon hearing our plea, the king exploded in laughter. "Why did you not tell me you needed a ship? Here, take my old flagship. I have a new one, and was only going to use it for target practice. Just make sure you remember to keep pumping out your bilge, as it sort of has this problem with leaking." And so, I again found myself within the good graces of Captain Crococlaws as we all sailed back to Crossbone Island, loaded with chests of treasure and barrels of food, with a grander yet still leaking new Grey Gator. Our cannons were larger than any that had ever been on the old ship. Our gunpowder and ammunition was plentiful, leaving us prepared for a war. Captain Crococlaws was very pleased, and immediately took a liking to the former royal warship, and took pleasure converting it into a pirate ship, complete with skull and crossbones. As we set sail in the light of sunset, I blew a kiss to the princess and bowed, saying, "Don't weep, mademoiselle, for I, Jean-Claude Crocohook, shall return." The princess, playing hard to get as most female crocs do, simply replied with, "Please don't." but we did not return home without first sailing to where our old ship had sunk, as we needed to pick up the rest of our crewmates who were still drifting at sea, for a crossbow never leaves a pirate brother behind. And that is the story of how Jean-Claude Crocohook saved the crocodilian princess Isabella and the rest of his pirate crew.
After getting them in trouble in the first place.
Uttered Crococlaws to Starscales as they watched Jean-Claude Crocohook finish his story to the crowd of observing pirates at the inn.